And that is a mouth-watering dish in all its simplicity. And it's a very old recipe. All you need, if you go really traditional, you need some beef for stewing. Then you need a healthy amount of garlic and, pardon my French, a shit ton of pepper and red wine and some salt. That's basically it. I am, though, going to add a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste. Don't frown upon me for doing that, but that will give a little bit of body to the sauce. But the reason there is no tomato in the original recipe is because at that time when they made this, tomato hasn't arrived in Europe yet. So that's how old it is. So we start with a pot, put it on medium heat, and give it a good glug of oil here. I don't know how much, 3-4 tablespoons. Just give it a good squirt around. And then I will start by roasting my garlic, so we infuse the oil with some garlic flavor. I don't want to burn them, obviously, but I want to get some flavor in here before we sear the beef. Originally, also, you wouldn't sear the beef. You would just put the beef with the garlic, pepper, wine, salt in a terracotta clay pot and leave it in the kiln of the terracotta factory in the corner of the kiln, and then they would leave it overnight and they had lunch ready for the next day. We are doing a little bit differently, a little bit modernized here. But let's get these browned up so we get some garlic flavor in our oil. When the garlic is nice and brown, like you can see here, then we're gonna scoop it out. Let me just get my little bowl back here. We wanna, of course, save those because they are obviously going in the stew, but I wanted this infusion of garlic in the oil to help us.
It has aromatized the whole room. So nice.
No, it smells really nice.
Yeah.
Then I have just shy of 2 kilos of chuck, which has been cubed up. Actually, this was chuck roast that we bought whole, and there is a link down below how to break it up for different dishes. Fantastic cut of beef. So we take these nice chunks. You see good fat marbling here. It's really nice. Get that in, and we want to do this in batches. Do not overcrowd. We want to sear and get a nice browning on them. So probably 3 batches maybe, I would say. Ooh, the smell of beef cooking. So we're gonna get
promising recipe.
It is. And we are going to continue with those on all sides so we get good browning on those. You see, when we get to this, that's what you want. Then you flip them over, and we do that on all sides. Look at that browning here, how fantastic that is. That is going to be a lot of extra flavor. Because we're using chuck, this will cook in probably 3-4 hours, whereas if you're using shank or something else like that, it will take much longer to cook this tender. But with chuck, 3 to 4 hours, then we are done here in the stew. All our beautiful beef is nice and brown. So now we are going to do the untraditional thing. Some tomato paste, just to give a little bit of body to our sauce. And we, as always, want to cook this out a little bit. You don't want just to put it in the sauce. You want to cook it a little bit to take that, I don't know what you call it, raw tomato paste. It's the same we do with garlic, aromatize it a little bit. But you also see all that beautiful fond we got in the bottom of the pot here. That's going to give extra super flavor to the sauce. And I think that's about it. And since we have, as I said, just shy of 2 kilos of meat, we are going in with 2 bottles of red wine. This is a Cabernet Sauvignon. If it was traditional, it would be a Chianti. But now we're using what we have here. So in with that. So 1 bottle of wine per kilo of meat. That's sort of the analogy that matches. And if you worry about it with the alcohol, don't worry, this is gonna cook out totally. It's only gonna make a very flavorful sauce. 2 full bottles of good red wine. Don't go overboard on wine. Something decent, but not super expensive. Salt. For 2 kilos of meat, you will go with 2.5% per salt weight, which in this case would be around 50 grams. But I'm going in with 1.5 tablespoons right now, because I know 1 tablespoon is around 25, but I want to have at the end that I can taste it so it isn't over-salted. And now comes the Peposo component, and that's why it's called Tuscan pepper beef. This is 3 tablespoons of cracked pepper, freshly cracked. I did it in my spice grinder. You can do it on your cutting board with a flat bottom pan, but don't use your pepper mill. You want it to be more coarse than that. So that goes straight in. And don't worry, it's not going to be overly peppery, actually, if that's a word, because it cooks for such a long time that the pepper softens up and mellows out, and it just gives super flavor. Now we just want to use our spatula to help the fond release from the bottom, and that takes only a second. So
basically it's just beef, wine, and garlic, and pepper.
And pepper. Basically.
What can go wrong with that?
Yeah, what can go wrong? It's like, it's exactly what can go wrong. Of course, we don't forget our garlic. They go back in. And all of our meat with the juices in the bottom of the pot. Do not forget that. They seep out a lot of juice after you sear the meat, and that juice you want to have it back in your stew. Now it's just a question of cranking this up and bringing it up to a simmer, which will take very short time because this here has a lot of power. You see, it's already starting to simmer. That baby has...
It's a good baby.
It's a good baby, exactly. Just let it come a little bit further up here before we finish this off, and now it's just a waiting time. So you can see out there, if you want to make this, it's like no prep time, and then in the oven, and then you just let it cook out in there until you're ready to serve and eat. It's a really nice dish. And now we have a nice simmer going here, as you can see. So now what we do is we cover it up, switch it off here, and then we're going to stuff it in the oven on the middle rack at 140 degrees, and we're going to let it live there for
the foreseeable future.
The foreseeable future. As I said before, somewhere 3 to 4 hours, not longer, but we will check in a couple of hours to see how we're doing on it, and then we will take it to the perfect serving temperature. We've been going for 2 hours, and now it's about time to give this a check. So let me get the lid off here. Ooh, that smells good.
True, I attest to that.
It does, and it looks good, and the sauce is really dark and nice like it's supposed to be. Let's take one of the bigger chunks here so we can see where we are. We are getting there, but we're not there yet. It's still, you see, it's still a little bit too bouncy. It has to be more than this. So I would say a good half hour, maybe even 40 minutes, then I think we are there. So back in it goes. Let me put the lid, but it's hot now, so don't burn yourself. But I'll keep it a little bit ajar so we can evaporate a little bit for the sauce. And then we let it go for half an hour, 40 minutes, definitely. Another 40 minutes, and now it's time to get this medieval feast out of the oven, because this is almost ready. Let me just leave it there for a sec, close the oven, and then I want to get it back on the stove, and I'll explain that to you, because traditionally this would be served straight as it is now. So if you see here, the sauce is like really thin. And to me, I want it to be a little bit thicker, but that would not happen if it was originally. But I want to give it just a slurry, and this is a couple of tablespoons of tapioca flour. Use cornstarch, use potato flour, use whatever you want, but non-traditional, I'm doing it anyway because I want it a little bit thicker. So in with this, and then we let that thicken up for a minute, and then we are ready to plate this up, and it's gonna be good. And this is how this would be served traditionally, with some toasted bread, garlic toasted bread, whatever. You can of course serve it over rice or mashed potatoes or this, that and the other, but back in the medieval times, this was it. So on with a piece of our beautiful meat here, a little bit of sauce over top, and then we're gonna see, because this is gonna be interesting. Absolutely amazing that you can create something like this with so few ingredients. It is fantastic. The beef is perfect. It melts in your mouth. The sauce it's pepperish, but it's not like spicy. It's cooked out perfectly. And it's not overpowering on garlic either. It just melts together perfectly, these simple flavors.
So even in an electrical oven was it good?
Yes, absolutely.
So you
amazing.
don't need to buy a kiln?
Well, I was trying to come up with that as an idea for my next episode, but no, you don't. Absolutely amazing. And you can do this with basically you could do it even with brisket. I mean, it's just a question of cooking time. Now this was chuck, so what was it, 3.5 hours?
Yeah.
If you do brisket or shank, you would probably look at 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. But you can even put it in the evening, the day before, let it cook overnight and dream that you were a terracotta worker in Tuscany. But definitely worth it and super easy to make. So give this a shot.